today's session on Kanban Maturity Model. Do you know, friends, that Kanban is a part of Agile methodology? A Japanese engineer named Taiichi Ohno created it in the late 1940s. The Agile Kanban framework places a strong emphasis on visualizing the entire project on the boards in order to improve the project transparency and team member collaboration. Watch this video till the end to learn more about Kanban Maturity Model. Now first, before we discuss our today's agenda, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon. So first, we are going to discuss about what is Kanban. Then we will deep dive into principles of Kanban. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about Kanban in product development. Then we will study about Kanban maturity model. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about Kanban capabilities. And at the end, we are going to discuss about Kanban maturity model levels.
Now let's start with what is Kanban. Kanban is a well-liked framework for implementing Agile and DevOps software development. It is a real-time capacity sharing and complete work transparency methodology. Do you know that Toyota first employed Kanban as a tool to balance capacity and demand throughout the value chain? The concept was kind of straightforward. Whenever a need for part arises, a Kanban card is sent upstream. Only then can the required amount of production would begin. The completion of several parts, a new card appearing indicates that there should be more production. A lack of cards or a part is a stop sign. There are finite number of cards in this cycle. To avoid the overproduction and cut the number of production-related parts, keeping partially completed components consumes valuable working capital that could be put into the use of investments. So for these purposes, Kanban proved to be an effective methodology for Toyota. Now let me give you one example. Let's examine how it functions in a well-known scenario of a burger restaurant. Maintaining fresh burgers on the menu while the number of customers changes throughout the day is difficult for the burger restaurant. Our chef knows how to start cooking more burgers when there is a spot open on the tray. Our chef can complete the other tasks once the tray is full, such as cleaning up or helping out elsewhere or planning for the following week. The quantity of cooked burger on the tray serves as a buffer, balancing the ability of our chef to prepare the burger with our capacity to respond to sudden spikes in the demand. We don't make more burgers than we need to, thanks to the straightforward mechanism, and we can easily adjust to the shifting demand. In real life, the number of burgers to be produced in batches varies throughout the day to accommodate high peaks and lunchtime. But what is the big deal in this? It's incredibly easy. Nobody needs to consider the procedure because it is kind of straightforward. It comes naturally with the job. You can quickly determine when you need to keep up or slow down. Misunderstandings and mistakes are less likely to occur under the stress. Flexibility is an additional benefit. With Kanban, a production line is simple to modify. Any modification is possible locally. To finish, simply reassemble the stations and adjust the number of Kanbans. You can apply the principles of Kanban in this example to easily simplify the procedure. Now, let me disclose you the principles of Kanban. There are 6 core Kanban practices related to the knowledge work. The first one is visualizing the workflow. The majority of knowledge work is invisible and frequently kept secret in email boxes and also in hard drives. But by visualizing the workflow, we can act and learn as a team based on the shared overview. This is useful for identifying bottlenecks and persistent quality issues. The next one is limit work in progress. To strike a balance between capability and demand, we enable our teams to work at a sustainable pace with quality output by limiting the work in progress. Limiting the work in progress is frequently the first step in changing the focus from beginning to completion. The next one we have is manage flow. We control our constraints and track flow in order to get better. Through output and lead time are the 2 most frequently used flow measurements. The next one is making the process policies explicit. It is hard to make improvements if every team member has a different standard. An explicit policy is necessary so that there is a shared agreement among the team members working with the Kanban board. An example can be a definition of done per column before moving the work forward. The next one we have is implementing feedback loops. A Kanban system will only show you how you see your quality and your side of the story. A feedback loop must be put in the place in order to help you to determine whether are you developing the products correctly or not. The next one we have is improving collaboratively, evolving experimentally. Develop using experiments, problem solving, and scientific principles. The main principle of the Kanban method as it relates to the knowledge work is to evolve from the current state by taking small steps. So these were the basic principles of the Kanban. Now let's see how Kanban is used in the product development. So when we implement Kanban in product development, the emphasis frequently shifts away from improving the flow of information, which can be ideas and customer insights, and towards improving the flow through the product development. So this can be acting like in a Kanban workflow, which helps us to improve the product development throughout the scenario. A rule to this is that no defects may be carried over to the subsequent stage. It is wrong to pass along the known flaws because doing so not only drives up the cost due to the rework but also erodes team and individual trust. When attempting to persuade other departments to cooperate with changes you are trying to make, trust is a valuable commodity you can use. Do not lose faith. Kanban is actually excellent for assisting you in visualizing the current situation, but it doesn't provide you instructions. You must make a choice there. There is no small matter. Resources for improvements are frequently scarce, so it's important to maximize them if you want to maintain a winning streak. Now, let's study about the Kanban Maturity Model. A model for the process level improvement using the Kanban method is known as Kanban Maturity Model or KMM. A process improvement across teams, departments, or entire organization can be steered by the KMM. It depicts 7 maturity levels and demonstrates how to successfully implement the Kanban method to advance from one level to the next and significantly enhance. There is a common misconception that Kanban is nothing more than a board with colored tickets and columns. However, the Kanban method goes much further. The Kanban maturity model is further evidence that it can be used to manage all the organizational processes. Now, we are gonna study about the Kanban capabilities. So, for addressing the following organizational capabilities addressed for development by the Kanban maturity model, which are as follows. The first one is that you're gonna get relief from the excess workload. Then, you're gonna have employee satisfaction and group cohesion, thus resulting in exceeding the client expectation, which is a major advantage and capability of Kanban. Then we are going to have the achievement of the customer satisfaction, thus resulting in defining and overseeing the mission and identifying the organization. The next capability you can think of is adaptability and to market volatility. Next one we have is predictable and long-term economic growth and financial stability. Moving ahead, the most important capability which you can see here is enterprise agility. Your workflow is gonna get agile. And finally, there is consistency in decision making throughout the board. Now, let's discuss the Kanban maturity model levels. As you know that the organization is not aware that the structured work process is kind of necessary. Most often, they can use a physical or a virtual Kanban board to visualize their own work. On a team level, Kanban implementation is still challenging. People are self-absorbed and self-concentrated, and there is little trust between everyone who is focused on themselves and getting things done. So for the same, we are going to study about the level 0. So what is basically level 0? At this stage, the organization is not aware of the need for the structured work process. Mostly, they may visualize work on a personal level using a physical or an online Kanban board. Applying Kanban on a team level is still difficult. Individuals are focused on personal achievements and getting things done. It is self-concentrated and the level of trust is kind of low. Then comes the level 1, which is team-focused. Here, the team members in this instance are already accustomed to using Kanban. The team creates its own team board and transfers its work from individual board as the need to move it to a team level becomes apparent. Thus, the team decides on initial policies and introduces per person swim lanes to visualize the individual task. We currently observe advancement in the collaboration, work transparency, and initiative taking, deliverability, and teamwork are thus the current areas of focus at this stage. Next comes the level 2. At this level, the organization is better able to comprehend how processes, workflow, policies, and decision making frameworks contribute to the better results. From being customer driven to being fit for purpose, the process changes. The company does a better job of satisfying customer expectations and thus maintaining a balance between upstream and downstream flow. Shortening the lead times, creating actionable metrics, and enhancing consistency and predictability in front of customers are the next step. Since why we exist has become the primary concern, the organization has begun to become more resilient. Now, let's see the stage 4, which is risk hedged. The company uses a model driven management strategy for strategic planning that foresees risks and forecast outcomes. In this level, the risk hedging techniques, frameworks for data driven decision making, and application of predictive models are kind of introduced. These practices enhance overall business's economics and robustness against unforeseen events. Deeper balance, fairness, customer intimacy, quantitative analysis, and dynamic schedulings are already evident here. The next stage is market leader. From a standpoint of each stakeholder and end user, the company is entirely fit for the purpose. Currently, it's critical to continuously improve the workflow, efficiency, and financial benefits while maintaining high quality standards and profit margins, thus lowering expenses and maximizing delivery times. The organization is already demonstrating its agility, workforce flexibility, equality of opportunity, and perfectionism as the focus is now on how do we do things. And the final stage is built for survival. The organization is for the built to last variety. Such a company can reinvent itself, is resilient, and prioritizes long term survival. It makes consistent decisions and is resilient to the outside changes. Thus, it is capable of asking and evaluating questions like, are we still providing the right products and services, or should we reinvent ourselves? And is the way that we do things still competitive? And as well as are new technologies, processes, or methods becoming available that we should be adopting? These inquiries are tactical. A mature organization will be able to establish the appropriate capabilities to align with a larger company strategy and thus maintain a finger on the business pulse. That was all for today's session. Hope you enjoyed our session on Kanban maturity models.